Now let us see some basic syntax rules in Java. In Java, everything is case sensitive. Means here we are writing S capital. If we give S as small letter, in small case, it gives us error. So Java is case sensitive. Means there is a difference between smaller case and upper case. So we should be very careful while writing this language, while writing the programs in Java. That's a main rule. And then this is our class name. First program is our class name. The first letter should be uppercase. And if you are having many words in the class name, let's say first program, so 2 words, the first letter in every word should be caps, like this. See, F is a capital letter and again P, and the rest could be in small letters. So these are all the rules you should follow while writing Java programs. And this class name and the file name should be exactly the same. See, my file name, I have created a class with the name firstprogram.java. That should be our class name. In case, suppose if I make any changes, it will give us error. You can see here, rename compilation unit to this. Means it's asking to rename this also, or else another fix. 2 fixes are available. One is changing this name also, or else rename type to first program. At least change this. And when we are writing any methods, this public static void main is a method. The method should start with a lowercase letter. Here main is a method. M should be in lowercase. So these are all the syntax rules in Java programming. And we have, if you have any main many words in this method, the first letter could be caps. But the starting letter of the main, method should be smaller case. So these are all the basic rules we should follow. And after this we have something called identifiers, Java identifiers. What are identifiers? See, in a Java program we have a class, method, variables. We have many here. So these are all Java components. The names given to these Java components are called identifiers. Means identifiers are simply names of a class or a method. All these are called identifiers. So again there are some rules to follow while giving the names or while assigning identifiers. The first rule should be an identifier should begin with a letter. It could be from A to Z or smaller case. So that should be starting, or else it could start with a dollar symbol, or else it could start with underscore. Any identifier. Identifier means it could be a name of a class, name of a method, or a name of a variable. So everything should be starting with these letters. Starting with these characters. It could be with the alphabet or a dollar or underscore. And keywords cannot be, this is the first rule. And keywords cannot be used as an identifier. What are keywords? See, there are some reserved keywords in Java. The one you are seeing in red here are called reserved keywords like public, class, static, void. These we can't use as some name. Means suppose this is my class. I can't use something like a static as my class name. Reserved keywords means they have some special meaning in Java. So we can't use them as a class name or a method name. So reserved keywords cannot be used as identifiers as a name of a variable, name of a variable or a method or a class. That's another rule. And again they are also case sensitive. Third rule. And the invalid thing is a class name or a method name. These identifiers basically should not be starting with a number. You cannot start something like one class or else one first program. Something you can't do this. This is not allowed. Similarly, method or also. You cannot start the identifier with a number. Or else you cannot start the identifier with any special symbol like ampersand. The method is, or else the class name is new program. You cannot start with a special character or a number. These should be the starting. You should start either with a letter with a capital letter or a small letter or a dollar or underscore. You cannot start with a number or a special character. So these are all the rules you should follow for giving an identifier for any Java component. So then suppose in my program I want to store some value. So where do we store? We need some container to hold some value. So that's nothing but a variable. So what is a variable? Variable is nothing but a name given to store some value. Name given to the memory location to store some value. Or else you can say they are nothing but reserved memory locations to store some value. So this is how you create a variable. You can give any name and this name is called identifier. Suppose I have a variable called x. So when you're creating a variable, data type is mandatory. What is this data type? See, x is my variable and I want to store some value in x. So when you are creating a variable, you should define which type of data it's going to store. So there are different data types in Java. Basically, data types are categorized into two. Let me write here. Data types are of two types: primitive data type, reference data type. Reference data types. Again, in a primitive, there are 8 types of data. Data types, 8 are there. Let's see some of them, like a byte, short, int, long, double, char. So these are all some of the major data types we'll be using. See, byte means there will be some range. It can store values from -128 to 127. If you want to store anything within this range, you can declare it as a byte. Or else say short. Short means it can store from -32,768 to +32,768. So that's a range that data type can hold. Likewise, every data type has some range. If you say int, it can store something, say -2 to the power 31 to 2 to the power 31 minus 1. You need not remember all these ranges exactly. Byte means very small value, short a much more bit, integer a very long value. Long is again a very huge data, right? Of course integers, but very huge. Double means decimals. It can hold decimal data. Char means any special character, any character it can hold. So these are the major data types. So when you are creating a variable, it is associated with the data type. Suppose I have a variable x, means I want to store some value, say 10. So when I want to store some value, when I create a variable x, what happens? It will occupy, it will store some, it will reserve some memory by the name x, so that within that we can store the value. So give the data type, let's say int x. So that's how you create a variable. This is called initialization or declaration. Sorry, declaring a variable. This is called declaration. After declaring, we can assign, we can store some value in x. So x equal to, let's say, some 1200, some value. So now x is a variable of type integer and it can store this value. Suppose now I want to print it. So how to print? Using system.out.println and x. So should we give this in x in double quotes? What happens if you give this to x in double quotes? See, if I give this in double quotes, anything you give in double quotes in the system.out.println will be printed as it is. Like here we have Java, Day1, Java fundamentals. Let's run this. See x. But I don't want x here. I want to print the value stored inside the memory of x. So remove the double quotes so that it will print the value stored inside the memory of x. 1200. So that's how data type and variables are associated. This is called initialization. Initializing the variable. Declaration and initialization are mandatory. Before, you can't initialize directly like this. Comment this. The two double slashes will comment. Now see, it will give the error. Create local variable. You should create the variable before using it. And when you creating, you should mention the data type. So that's how data types and variables are associated. And X is called the identifier. Identifier means name given to the some memory location to store some value. That name is called identifier and that X is called the variable. That's about identifiers, variables and data types. Let's see using some other data types. Suppose I want to store a very long value. Let's create a long data type, long L. Then into this cell I can assign some value. Then we can print this using system.out.println. Run this program. Before that, save this. See? So integer, long, and then we have suppose I need to store some decimal value. You can write double D equal to some decimal. See, initialization, declaration you can do on the same line like this as well. You can do like this separately, first declare then initialize, or else both can be done on the same line. Now print it. Give SYSO control space bar. Will give the command. Then D. Okay. And there is another data type called char. Char C equal to, it can hold any character. We have already used X, use something say C, char C. Now a single character should be placed here like this. Suppose I have two integers, int A equal to 6, int B equal to 5. I want to add them. Let's say A plus B. So this will give you the value by after addition. So which is again an integer. So assign this int C equal to. So A plus B equal to C. Now I want, okay, C we have already used, so it's giving error. Rename. Let's say some H. Now if I want to print this, so it will give us the result by adding 11. So we are adding A plus B. Here this plus is called the operator. That too arithmetic operator. Operators are something which works between the variables and help us in managing or manipulating the variables. That's called a variable, operator. Like that, this plus is called arithmetic operator. This equal to is called assignment operator. Means the right hand side will be assigned onto this left hand side, which is X. So X equal to 1200. So these are called operators. There are many types of operators in Java. We'll look into them. Before that, let's see another data type called Boolean. Boolean B equal to, Boolean means it can hold either true or false, nothing else. Only either true or false. B we have already used. Let's see G. Again, if you want to print this, write print command. See? Boolean means it can hold either true or false. And suppose I want to compare two numbers, 5 greater than 6. So when it compares, what does it return? This will return the Boolean value either true or false. So let's take that into a variable Boolean t equal to. Now print that. Print the value of t. See, false. Because 5 greater than 6 is not true, it's a false. So it's printing false. So here again this greater than is called relational operator. Those are all different kinds of operators. Relational operator will give you either Boolean, either true or false. That's a Boolean value. And then we have something called string. String S1 equal to a group of characters. Java basics is called a string. And then if you want to print, you can just write S1. Execute this. Say Java basics. The string is not a data type. We have a built-in string class, and by writing this, we are creating object of the string class. We'll talk about that in detail as we go on. So this is how you create a string. String is nothing but a group of characters, any characters placed in a double quotes. So here we have seen about identifiers, variables, and data types, and introduction to operators like assignment operator, arithmetic operator, and relational operator. If we talk about operators, we have many types of operators in Java. Operators. And the most important ones, or the ones mostly used, are arithmetic operators, relational operators, logical operators, and assignment operators. What are arithmetic operators? What are relational? See, arithmetic operators includes like plus, minus, all this comes under arithmetic operator. Multiplication or division, modulus operator, which gives us the remainder. All these are the arithmetic operators. Let's see. First one is a plus. Suppose you have a is some value, a is 5 and b is 6. So now if you add, it will give you 30, right? So that's how arithmetic operator addition works. Subtraction, as we know, it subtracts like a minus b or else b minus a. So it will give you the result. Multiplication, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and then modulus. Modulus means it will return you the remainder. So these are all some of the operators, and also we have plus plus, incrementation, and decrementation. We'll talk about this incrementation and decrementation operators when we are using a loops. So these are arithmetic operators. Relational operators. These are nothing but which will give you the Boolean value, like suppose equal to, double equal to is called the equal to operator. It's used to check if A is equal to B, like this, A equal to B. If both are equal, it will give you true, otherwise false. Like that, we have not equal to operator, exclamatory mark, and equal to. It's a not equal to. If we want to check A not equal to B. So it depends whether it gives you true or false, depends on the values of A and B. Suppose A is 5, B is 6. It will give you not equal to, will give you true. This will give you false. Right? So these are all different operators. Double equal to, not equal to, greater than, or a less than. So 5 greater than 6, A greater than B. It will give you false. Or else A less than 6. It will give you true. And so on. Or else you have something called greater than or equal to. Right? And same in mathematics, we have less than or equal to. These are all the different relational operators applied between the numbers generally. Then comes logical operators. Logical operators are used between the values which are again Boolean. Means suppose if you take A equal to true, then B is a false, B equal to false. Then the different logical operators are double ampersand, or operator, double or logical not. Logical not means ampersand means true and false. A ampersand, A double ampersand B. So what does it give you? One is true, other one is false, it will give you false. Here if one is in OR, when you are using it in the OR operator, true or false, it will give you output true. Logical not. Logical not means not A double ampersand B. So what does it give you? A ampersand B. A double ampersand A and B. It's called A and B will give you false. Not of false means negotiation of this. Not operator. So that it will give you again finally true. Means reverse of this and operator. And then you have assignment operator, like assigning the right hand side will be assigned onto the left hand side. And again there are different types of assignment operators. And that's how it works. We'll be using them mostly to check the condition, some condition thing. Suppose if we are using some looping statements in Java, there to check the conditions we'll be using these operators. These are very helpful in managing our data in the programs.